All right, good afternoon, everyone. You know, Nana's doing her teaching today, and noontime is officially afternoon. So what I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna show you some of the different alternatives that I've done with the April paper pumpkin, and just some of the ways and techniques I did it to make it happen. So with that, Nana's gonna switch over so you can see my hands, so you can see how I've cut and how I actually do things versus just looking at me and my face personally. But I'll still be here and still talking, all right? Okay, so we're just gonna move the camera down so you can see what I'll be doing. All right, so we're gonna start off simple. We're gonna start simple and then we're gonna work our way up. And we're not gonna involve a lot of time, but we're gonna get it all in a short amount of time. So one alternative that Nana did is we literally took one of the cards from the April kit, and all we're going to do is just simply modify this. We're not gonna even do anything to the card at all. All we're gonna do is put our glue in here to sit there and put this down. And what we have done is taken some cardstock, and I'm gonna show you in just a second how we did the cardstock, but these are just the glue dots that's gonna glue this down for us. And so we're just gonna put some around, and you know what, I think I'm just gonna put a couple extra ones toward the middle here, or the middle sides. That one stuck to my thumb, this happens, which is fine. Then you just take that thumb and do it like that, and it works just fine. No use getting bent out of shape or something like that, because it'll happen more than once, so, you know. And we're not gonna do anything creative with my thumb, so there you go. All right, so this is just a card, and all we're gonna do with this is we're just gonna take what we just did and stick it down. Like that. This is just a single sheet of card craft. The way we got here is we talked about this, I think when Nana was doing techniques for us the first time, but basically this is a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper when you get cardstock. And all you do is cut it in half, and this is how we normally make our cards. If we're gonna make our own cards, and we fold them in half. So instead of folding it in half and making it a card, Nana just cut it in half to get this right here. Because this way, this will fit in your regular envelopes that we'll mail out, and I'll show you. So that you'll see that it's gonna slide right into your envelope. Now we're not finished yet, so this is pretty much all we're gonna do with the outside of the envelope, but where we're gonna make a little bit of difference here is we're gonna change how we do the inside. So yes, in this particular case, and Nana didn't want to have to keep on swapping out stamps and so forth, so I literally put one stamp that I'm going to use on one end and another stamp that I'm going to use on the other end. And this one says, "You are so cool, happy birthday." So the first thing I'm going to do when I open up this here is I'm going to first do "You are so cool." And like we said before, we're going to take this here and we're just going to ink across the letters like this, get a nice coating. All right, we're gonna close our ink, and now we're gonna stamp it. And I'm gonna put it right up here. And then I'm gonna clean my stamp, which we talked about this. All you need to do is have your handy rag, damp rag around, get the ink off. We don't wanna dry it on our inks, on our stamps there, and get on the other stuff. And then we're gonna use the color that we got this month. And this is where we're gonna put on the happy birthday, which you do have to make sure you don't do the same one twice. So yes, I'm just double checking, and same thing, I'm just inking it like this here. All right, so we're gonna put it back there, and then we're gonna sit there and stamp this. Okay, so then we're just gonna center this up here. All right, so now we have it stamped. Are we finished? Well, that's totally up to you, but Nana happens to like to add extra things. So I actually like to add some extra ink. We have this dot. I went ahead and put on another stamp. You got this one with your kit, and if you have more than one kit, you might actually get that as a door prize also. But I borrowed one of my others from my other kits, and I'm actually gonna add some dots. And I'm not gonna only just add the dots maybe to here, I'm gonna also add some to the envelope. So all I'm gonna do is lightly tap this. I already know from experience that's a dark color, and I like mine on the second stamp where it's a little bit lighter. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just tap, tap, tap. I'm gonna stamp a side here, and I'm gonna put a stamp here. And I'm gonna do it again because I would just do all purple down at the bottom here since I already got the other colors up. And I'm just gonna rotate it just to give it a different, you know, like I'm not doing exactly the same thing. Again, I'm gonna stamp to this side and I'm gonna get it back on here. So am I finished? No, I'm not. So now what Nana likes to do, I really like to do my envelopes. So yes, it's a pretty envelope. So I'm gonna put this here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this right here. And as I do it, I'm just gonna come and stamp across, and I'm just gonna rotate my purple because I'm actually gonna go back and put the blue and the other colors. So I usually like to do it in 3s. All right, and so I'm gonna clean my stamp off, and now I'm gonna get the blue, and well, I'm gonna get the 2 colors we did on the inside. All right, so I'm gonna start off with the blue. I'm just gonna hold this down. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm tapping again because I don't remember what the color looked like. Okay, with stamp 1, stamp 2. I like stamp 2. So I'm gonna go with that again. I'm gonna stamp here, and then I'm just gonna turn it because I can. And then I'm gonna stamp again, and then I'm gonna turn it over here. I'll stamp over here again, and there we go. I'm gonna turn it like that again because I can. All right, so with that, I'm gonna clean off my stamp again and put this color away, and I'm gonna go back to the orange. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing here, but I believe this one I like the first stamp. Yeah, I could go either way. So if I want to look like 2 different colors, I could do it like that. And then I could do it like that. Nobody knows the difference except you and I. All right, so I'm most probably gonna want a little bit something else, but I think that's all I'm gonna do right now, and I can come back and touch it up a little bit later if I want to. But the last thing I wanna add, since I'm using the kiwi popsicle here, I decided I was gonna also put kiwi on the back of my envelope. This is a sticker that's in the April kit, and I'm just gonna stick it right there. You can do it any way you want to, it doesn't matter, it's your card. And the last touch that you might want to add, besides the card, I might come back and put another little blue there. Not sure at the moment, but I have time. I can make decisions about that. And this here, I am going to, do not grab my handy scissors. All right, well, all I'm gonna do right now is then what I did with one of them is I just took it and I just wrapped it around. You know, I didn't make a bow this time because I didn't want to. Could have, but I didn't want to. And I'm just gonna take this here. I'm gonna put a little extra there so I can actually tie it in a square knot. Actually, some days I do square knots better than I do bows. So, thing about a square knot, remember, is it's left string over right, and then we're gonna do the right over the left. And I might have cut that a little short for my fingers, but if so, then I'll just use a glue dot to hold it down, but I think I got it. All right, you know what? I'm not gonna fuss with it right now. I'm going to use a glue dot to hold it in place, and then when I get through with this a little bit later, I'll come back and do it because I wanna be able to get to the other 2 as well for you too. So I don't wanna take a lot of time fussing with it. Just wanted to hold in place until I can come back to it and do it. But, you know, it's one of those things, you know, it's no thing, getting excited about it. If you're ready to move on to the next thing, then you're ready, and you can just hold on to that and finish it in just a second. So that's gonna leave that right there just to show you. So you can see that we did this here, we stamped on the inside, and we took dots, and we put the stamp on here, and then we stamped the outside of our envelope, and then we also used the sticker that was in there. So we will be finished with this card, and I'll show you another example of this too. Here's one that I demonstrated when I did the stamping technique last Friday, and the same concept there is I sit there and just put this on top. This will also tie into, as we go up our cards, I'll show you some more, but I sat there in this one, I actually cut off a 1/2 inch, I inked this and put a sticker here. I used this one, I actually made card. And then I put the stamp here that we had in the kit itself. And this is actually just some designer series paper that Stampin' Up! Made to coordinate with this kit that I used here. This is just about, let's see here, we can measure it. Right here on this paper we have, this is, as you can see, it's about 1 3/4 by 5.5. So that's how long the strip is that we put here for the background here. So just showing you, we're not making that right now because we sort of demonstrated this the other day on the stamping, but we also had done, not stamping, sponging. And so we sponged this whole one here, and then we turn around and we sponge the back of the envelope. Again, we stamped it. So you see I got green here, so I'll most probably go grab that green and put it on the envelope. And then I just put a strawberry here so it matched my envelope. All right, so we're gonna move to the next alternative that we did. So we're just sort of going up on the way that we're doing some of it. This is the You Are So Cool. And what I did to create this is we turn around and I took one of the popsicles that we had in the kit. And what I did is I came down and I cut off a 1/2 inch. So you can see here, I just cut off a 1/2 inch straight across both of these because we're gonna use both of these. And then what I did is I held on to the popsicle part of the bottom here. And so basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna stamp this. So what Nana did is I flipped this over. You could use either one at this point. I'm just gonna put this right here to the side. And basically just what we did a while ago. I'm gonna take it, this time I'm gonna start off with some green because I didn't get green on the last one, and I'll finish up that last envelope that we just did, and I wanted just a little bit more color. Nana's given away most of her little inch dots here through door prize drawings and so forth and all, but that's okay. I have some bigger stamp pads, but all I'm gonna do is the same thing here. I'm gonna test it out. All right, let's see the second stamp. All right, I like both. So you know what? I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna stamp here, and then I'm gonna stamp here. I'm gonna stamp over here because I just want some more green. I like lime green, and lime green likes me. All right, so that'll be finishing that one up there. I thought we were gonna touch up there. So we're gonna do down here. We're just gonna have a little stamping field day here. You know, I'm just gonna do, I think I might do that one. I might want that one darker. All right, and that's okay. So we'll clean that off, and I'm gonna go with my other colors that we had earlier. We'll do our grape again. And we're just gonna basically, to create this, all we did is just make dots. Use right from our kit, and we just dotted. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can stamp off. It doesn't matter. The main thing is we're trying to cover the card with dots. And that's basically the essence of this card. It's just a matter of taking and stamping dots all over it. All right, I'm gonna add, let's see here. I think we just got pretty much the orange one left. I should have been stamping the envelope at the same time, but anyway, you've already seen me stamp an envelope, so you don't need to see me stamp an envelope again. You know, and you just keep on going until you get the look you want. You know? So that's what I did there. So we clean the stamp off again. And then what we're gonna do here, in order to do this here, is I literally sat there and used, so we had this cardstock right here. So we're going to sit there, and what I did is I just used our dimensionals, the large dimensionals, because this is large, so I want to be sure to put some large dimensionals on here. I'm going to put at least 3. I'm going to leave a space in the bottom here because I want to be sure to be able to set my popsicle stick and all here. Yep, you just gotta peel it off. Someone asked the other day what were dimensionals. Well, these are dimensionals because they actually give height and dimension to what you're working on. So I'm gonna put this up here as close as I can there, because I've already cut off 1/2 inch. And then from here, I'm going to sit there and take and put smaller dimensionals. So both of these have come in the kits or either former kits. And it shows you that we have leftover product from each kit, month to month. So that's why it's always important to save your stuff. And so I'm actually doing it at different heights because I want the popsicle itself to stand out a little bit more and stand up more. So this one, I just sat there and I used lower dimensionals. We discussed this a little bit, I think, last week, and if you can look at the dimensionals, you can see how they're just a little bit different in height. But you know, it's enough height difference that you get the different look by sitting there and putting the different dimensionals in here in this particular project. And so that's why I did it. So see, all I'm gonna do is slide it. I can just lift that up a little slightly, and I can slide it under and center it, and there you go. Now, you know what, if it moves on you and it doesn't want to set right, then you can redo it, but I think we got it there. All right, so at this point then, it's just a matter of taking some more ribbon. We'll try doing a bow this time. Actually, I want it more than one bow because I want it like just like I did on my example there. You don't have to do it just like the example. I just chose to do it like the example I'd already did. I usually like to have at least two cards of the same look because I have a tendency to give one away for sure. And I like to keep one for myself sometimes, at least just for a little bit. Okay, Nana has problems here. Guess what? We will just cut this here. Some days I don't like that. And you know what? I can just sit there and tie it. Some days I can make bows easier than others. Other days it's like you thought I never made a bow before in my life. So, and some days I'm just not into bow making. I make a bunch of them during the holidays for the tree. All right, we'll just do it this way and I can trim up my ribbon. And we'll do the same thing we did a while ago. We'll just use a glue dot to get it on here. And you don't have to even worry about this yet. What you can do when you get finished is you can go in and trim it up and clean it up. The main thing is we just want to get you some different ideas and show you some different things that Zoe and Nana worked on, and Nana's just giving you a demonstration of how we got there. So you can see how we did it because you can do it too. Okay, so that just needs to be trimmed up, and the only other thing we got left to do is to sit there and put stamp "You Are So Cool" on here, and to put this on here again, you're just using your glue dots. Sometimes it comes off with the paper, sometimes it doesn't, so we just work on adapting whichever way it decides to work. Get that one in there, yeah. There you go. Okay, so that one came off a little bit. You know what? I just roll it over. That's all you gotta do. It's nothing to get excited about. If it sticks to your finger, don't get excited about that either. Because, okay, so that one didn't come off, so we'll just stamp it right there. And let's see, here we go. All right, so I think we got enough there. So we're just gonna put this right up here like we did at the top of that one. And I try to get it about the even distance from there. And then we just have to stamp "You Are So Cool." And I'm gonna do it in this color again. And we'll use this technique again too. We did this last Friday for teaching how to inking. So I'm just gonna do like I did last week. I'm just gonna come across here. It's okay if it, splashes a little across or whatever, we're just trying to give it a little distinct look there. And then we're gonna, silly. All right, so we're just gonna stamp here. That's right, you go, Nana. All right, Nana's on a roll. Okay, and then we're just gonna turn around and stamp it. Center it and stamp it. Okay, then it's ready to be cleaned And then we're gonna sit there and again, use our dimensionals. Use the larger ones here on this one because I put it, you can see it looks like it's just a little bit higher than the popsicle. Well, I want it to be just a little bit higher because that's the part I want to see first. You are so cool. That's important for you to know. You are so cool. And the ice cream is just like the icing on top. Let's see, that's all we're doing. So this is different than the card we did a while ago where we sat there and put the actual card because that card's gonna open. This one is not. This is gonna open inside here. And what I've done on this example here, and I'm not gonna stamp all this out for you right now, but same thing. Like I told you earlier, I took the popsicle and cut it a 1/2 inch off straight across the bottom of the actual popsicle. And so all you're gonna do now is turn around and we're gonna glue this down and then we're gonna stamp it just like we did on the front side. And then from there, then you're gonna sit there and use one of our banners here and stamp happy birthday on it, just like this here. And you got your dots around it and then your card will be finished. But by all means, don't forget to do your envelope because this is what Nana did at the back of her envelope. Again, I used all those colors, but then I also used the rainbow sticker. I just thought it would be cool. I liked all the colors and it just all goes good together. So we are finished with this example here. And then it's just got one more example to show you of an alternate card. And this one's gonna be stamped up just a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit more, maybe advanced or whatever you wanna call it. But here's what we're going to make here. This again is using the stamps in the kit. This is the actual part of the envelope of the kit. And this is the interior of the actual envelope itself. And this here is nothing more than, I took one of the sparklies and I flipped it over and I inked it the way I wanted to ink it. So that's basically all this is. So what we do to get here is, we've got our cardstock here. And we're gonna take our envelope and we're just gonna do some scissors here. I'm gonna sit up here and come to the side here and cut. I don't have my long scissors with me today, but we're gonna use my short scissors here. So, okay, that was a technology blip for sure, literally. Okay, so we're cutting it here on the side. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do need it to be somewhat, you know, because I don't want to cut on my color here because I'm going to use the color. So here's the inside of the envelope. So all I'm doing is I'm just cutting. I'm just going to cut off the white for the moment. And then I'm going to turn around and cut this stripes here to the size that I have on my example. I'm saving the white part because I'm using the white part for the background of the two popsicles. But that's all we're doing is we're just trimming this out. You trim this out with your scissors. And you know for sure I'm gonna cut on this because this is a line and I know this, see where this envelope folded? Well, I really don't want that in there and you know what? I don't really need it anyway. You can barely see it, but when you bend it, it's right there. So I'm definitely gonna be sure that that is cut off because I can either use that for something else. In fact, I'm just gonna tear this off here in a second, just get out of the way. So I'm gonna actually cut this off. And yeah, we can use it for something else if we want to. That's not a big deal. That's most probably a perfect piece to put on the side. And we don't waste all that pretty paper because Nana loves these colors. These remind me of summertime, fun times, beach times, you name it. So I will use that paper for something. I'll most try to make another card that I can show you next week. But this is dealing with today. All right, put that aside. All right, so all we're gonna do here is you can see that, all right, so my diagrams, you can do your stripes any way you wanna go. I happen to do mine this way. Now this one, for whatever reason, I cut it a little bit shorter, but you can see I still need to trim it off. So I'm gonna trim this off 1/2 inch, just like I did the other. Now, if I don't wanna get out my cutter to do this, all I've gotta do is mark off 1/2 inch here. This is what I usually do, is I just use my ruler here. You've got a ruler in your kit. I just sort of bend it there and I come down here and I'll take it and I'll bend it there so I know where I'm gonna bend at. Okay, so then I take both sides and I take it here where I've bent it. And I take it over here on this end where I've bent it down here, so I know it. I know the edges are gonna match because that's how we get our straight lines. And then I'm just gonna go and crease it with my fingers. So I'm gonna get my nice crease right there, coming across, and you can see where it matches, okay? So am I gonna cut again? Yes, I'm gonna cut again. I'm gonna cut this right here. All right, so now it's ready for me to put dots on it. So like I said, you can do it either way you want. You can do it that way, or you can flip it this way. For Nana, it doesn't matter, because for me, any way I go, I still get my stripes. So I'm gonna go this way today. And we're just gonna put our glue dots on here to glue it down. So we're just gonna put our glue dots on here to glue it down. And I'm gonna put one on each corner because that's what I usually do. And then I'll put one in the middle of each side, and that should do it. So this is always, takes a little time, but you know what? It's taking the time that's gonna make it stick down right. And actually, as I'm looking at it, I see this one little corner here, and I'm just gonna snip that off. It just sort of looks like it's a little crooked, so snip. I'm gonna snip it. All right. On that note, I'm gonna just peel it off. And then we're just gonna stick it on, just like we did on the example. Yes, and I'll clean up my mess later, so we all need to be sure to clean up our messes after the fact. So it's nice and neat and ready to do arts and do make cards or scrapbooking, whatever. We're ready to go again. At the moment, we are making a little bit of a mess that we know that we'll clean up. You're not gonna sweat the small stuff right now. All right, so I want my card going this way. See, so it opens this way here. Almost had it backwards. And then I'm just gonna center it from top to bottom, left to right. And let's see, that's right where I want it. Okay. You know what, if it's a little off, don't stick it all down yet. Just if it's a little off, just get it right where you want it. And see, that looks like I got it off the bottom a little bit. Okay, I'm liking that a little bit better. All right. Okay, I still want it up a little bit. That's okay. Just lightly push down on it, and that way you make sure that you get it where you want it. Okay, I like that better. All right. So the next spot is we're gonna take our envelope that we just had and we're gonna size it down. So I'm gonna make sure to get the parts off right here that's got the tabs on it. And we're gonna take care of that at both ends. Put my trash there to the side. All right. Okay, so with this, I still have a little bit of a slant, but you can see I actually sized it down. You can see where I've got this height about the same. So I just sit there and I'm gonna make it where it's not quite so wide. So I'm gonna just do like I did a while ago. I'm just gonna take it here, I have my example. I can measure it if I want to, but I'm not. So I'm just gonna take it here, and I'm just gonna get this line straight right there. And then I'm just gonna make sure, because I'm holding on to that and making it straight, I'm making it straight all the way across. All right? And then I'm just gonna cut it off, just like we did the other stuff. All right, now I'm gonna ink the edges. That's what I did last time. I inked the edges on this other one. And then I'm not really gonna want height on here because I've got my stickers that don't really have height to them. And they're stickers, so that's what they do. They just stick to the paper. So I'm not gonna worry about this having height like I did the other stuff, previous cards. This one I'm just gonna sit there and I'm just gonna put it down with the glue dots. Okay. And I'm just gonna use 4 this time, just to sort of keep us moving along. Okay. Let's get the whole thing off. All right, you want to take the whole thing off, but you know, it happens. That's okay. It's nothing to get excited about. They're used to, you know, the only thing that can happen, worst thing that can happen is it might stick to your clothes without you realizing it, and something else will stick to it. Other than that, you're in good shape. Just keep on plugging along. That one's on there too. Okay, so I'm just gonna stick it sort of like I did on that one there. I can move it over a little bit more if I want to. I can do whatever I want to. All your cards don't have to be done exactly the same unless you want it that way. It's your creation, so you can do whatever you want. So here I've got my 2 stickers I've still got handy from just like I did last time. Now again, I stamped, so you can see that I sat there and stamped all over in between the popsicles and all. So you can do that. Since I've already done some of that for you, I'm not gonna do that again because we've already done a bunch of stamping of the dots and so forth and all. But I just wanna be sure to show you some different alternatives to what you can do with your April kit. And it's okay if it crosses over. See how it crossed over the line? It's okay. It crossed over the line here too. That is okay. So on top of that then, I've got what I did is I sat there, like demonstrated this last Friday, but all I did is took my ink spot and I just tapped it around on the top of this until I got the color that I wanted. And then once I was through, then I'm done. Now this one, I will put a dimensional because you can see I wanted the height there to distinguish these that are stickers and this is not. So I'm just gonna use one large dimensional because that's about all I really need for this. And these stick really good to glitter. You don't have to worry about that. Just peel it off and I'm just gonna put it right there. Let's see, I wanna be sure to get my popsicle sticks because those are important. All right, to me they are anyway. And then from here, this one instead, I stamped You're So Cool. So I'm just gonna stamp this, put this on here with my dimensionals. And the thing is, what I'm gonna do here to the side, if you can't see it, I've actually got a dimensional just right here on this one side. And the reason for that is when I go and stamp this, put this on here with the dots, this is just gonna be hanging out there. So, in here, you can do it sideways if you want to, that's fine too. And if you want it that way, that's fine. If you don't, I didn't want it that way. So what I did is I just put a large dimensional, because that's what I have under this one, and to give it balance from the height perspective without it flipping around like that. And then I'm just using my glue dots again on this. You only need 2. I don't really need a whole lot because these stick really good. As long as you got the paper off of it. All right, I'll take this paper off of this. Okay, and actually I am gonna do this one sideways because I actually like that. So there you go. Now the only thing that's left to do is to stamp your dots around it like we did before. I don't think I put anything on the inside of this one. Yeah, I did one stamp. So I just took the stamps that came with the kit and I stamped it here. And that was it. The only other thing that I did differently with this is that I did stamp the envelopes. So again, if you'll stamp your envelopes, but in this particular time, instead, I'm doing all the dots again, but this time, instead of using the rainbow, I thought on this one, I would use the sunshine. Again, you can go back and stamp around it and all, and do your little dots and everything else. But at least it gives you an idea how we did the 3 different ones. So we've actually shown you 3 different alternatives to the paper pumpkin kit today. This was the last one that had more work to it than the other 2. We showed you this one here, You Are So Cool. And we showed you this one here where we actually took the card and actually put it on a piece of the paper here and stamp the inside of this here. So that's it for today for our alternatives, and we'll bring you some more alternatives next week.